So I figured I'd do something a little off the cuff and talk about something that's been in the news as of late and, well, it slightly concerns me. And that is Dungeons & Dragons have announced new settings for 5th edition this year. Dungeons & Dragons plans to announce several additional publications in 2018 which will add new campaign settings for players outside of the Forgotten Realms. Wait, there's actual Forgotten Realms book? There wasn't really last time I checked. Comicbook.com spoke with Nathan Stewart, the brand director and executive producer of Dungeons & Dragons, at the Stream of Many Eyes, a massive 3-day event held last weekend in Los Angeles to promote the reveal of 2 new adventure storylines, Waterdeep Dragon Heist and Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage, that will be released later in 2018. When asked to give a tease about plans for 2019, Stu revealed that the brand has still more surprises this year. Gee, 2 Forgotten Realms adventures. How original. Next month, we're going to talk about a couple of different settings that people can start playing in as early as this year, Stuart said. Now, what's interesting is that D&D 5th edition has been out for nearly 4 years. And really, they've released little to anything in terms of actual setting content for D&D. It's like they've forgotten about it and have just instead released vague supplements with no sense of direction in them. But anyway, these new publications won't be full-blown storylines. Gee, really hard-working there. But rather an introduction to different worlds set inside of the D&D multiverse. It's going to be more like at the level of how Barovia, introduced in Curse Strahd Adventure storyline, is in terms of stuff. I haven't really read this, but let's assume that it's good. Anyway, here's the thing that's going to give you a taste of the setting. But we're not going to the setting yet, we're just letting you get in there and start doing it. This is really, really confusing. I mean, in 4th edition, we didn't really see any detailed setting material. And again, I mostly ran homebrew when I was introduced to it. But they don't seem to really want to release any sort of concrete setting material. They talk about these figures like, Mordenkainen from Greyhawk, or Xanathar, and like, yeah, these people should interest you, new people into D&D, when, you don't actually introduce who they are, or what world they're in, or anything like that. But I digress. Stuart provides Curse of Strahd as an example, which in a large portion of the book is dedicated to describing the populace, economy, and backstory of many of the key characters of Barovia. See, this is basic D&D writing 101. It's how you write adventures. The purpose of including all that information in the book was to emphasize how dark and depressing the setting was. Well, not really, it's to provide you information about it. Castle Ravenloft's been done 100 times, Stuart said, but this plane you get into like, oh shit. See, the thing about D&D is, you're supposed to provide a world, and you haven't really been doing that, have you, wizards, over the past few years? In fact, you've been pretty much avoiding it and just producing very little in terms of setting material or anything like that. As opposed to 3rd edition or 3.5, which had actual books detailing the various rules, areas, and traits of a setting, i.e. Forgotten Realms or Eberron. Stuart declined to say which D&D settings would be revisited this year, but he did note that the books would please hardcore fans of the franchise. Well, the people who built your fucking hobby. I'm pretty sure these were the same hardcore fans that Mike Mills said thought women couldn't understand the lore or gameplay mechanics. Dungeons & Dragons has already started to tease popular worlds in some of their publications and online programs. 4 years in. This is what pisses me off the most. It's 4 years into an edition. They might as well have been starting work on 6th edition, for crying out loud. And they're already putting out setting material. This should have been the first fucking thing they've done. It's like, okay, here's the books. Here's the Game Master Guide. Here's the Monster Manual. And here's, Forgotten Realms. Have fun. Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes recently introduced the GIF, an anthropomorphic hippo mercenary from the sci-fi-inspired Spelljammer setting, as a foe for players to battle. Now, that is a bit of a throwback, but you could probably experience the same thing by digging through the various archives of monsters that have been put out over the years. Anyway, in addition, D&D story designer Chris Perkins also noticed that a Spelljammer helm would appear in Dungeon of the Mad Mage as a possession of Halaster Blackcloak, the titular Mad Mage who created the Undermountain Mega Dungeons. Yay, we're getting a re-release again, instead of something new. Like, can we just, have something new instead of just rehashes of old shit? We can convert, we are smart people. Mike Merle's D&D franchise creative director has also been teasing Cyranox on Twitter, and in his weekly Mike Merle's Happy Fun Hour, gee, that sounds forced, program, Cyranox are core mechanics of multiple classes, including those featured in the Dark Sun campaign. Like, can I just point this out? Cyranox have always sucked. Like, they just really haven't fitted in that well. They've just blown hard. Dungeons & Dragons plans to start talking about the new product as early as next month. We have 2 surprises that I think hardcore D&D fans are going to really come to love this summer, Stuart said. And I think that we got one surprise that's going to be released later this year that we've not told anyone about. We're actually going to announce it in July. Yeah, so that's interesting. What this hardcore thing might be, who knows? It could be some blatant pandering to people who, like D&D and have liked D&D over the years. It's by just visiting some nostalgia rather than, being bold and creating something new. Or it could be actually something quite good. Who knows? And finally, let us know what D&D campaign you're hoping that the franchise will visit in the comment section. And that comment section really isn't that big. So what I will say is what I want to look forward to. And I would say, really, the smartest thing Wizards could actually do, which, let's be fair, they haven't been very smart as of the past couple of years, is to actually, update the settings, bring them out, make them good and interesting. So I would say probably actually have good writers for that. I have not been a big fan of how D&D's been going for the past year or two, and you can quite clearly see it in the terms of the development team, what they've been bringing out. I mean, D&D Beyond is a big fucking joke, if you ask me. And the fact is that they haven't released the setting for 4 years. 4 years without a dedicated setting book. This is an absolute joke. And in fact, it's starting to see the right direction, but personally, I've sworn off Wizards products because, well, they keep inserting their own, political agendas into their material. Because, it's part of this trend of, we gotta be trendy and representation. And representation's bullshit. You don't see that many fat neckbeards in D&D world. I mean, even Mordenkainen, he's not fucking fat. He's fucking thin as shit. Elminster, he's not a fat fucker. He hasn't got a neck beard. Come on, Wizards. We want our representation. You're representing everyone else but us. Okay, but seriously, if you've gotten to this point, thanks for watching. This shit's really dumb. And I haven't really sort of focused down on all of the problems that I have with Wizards of the Coast, and I have a huge amount of problems. And it just isn't related to D&D, it's related to everything they've been doing over the past few years. Anyway, I'm not going to ask you to, subscribe all that other bullshit. Who cares? Everyone does that shit. Hopefully I'll have another video, or, I don't know, Project Vigil will start soon. That's something that I'm really fucking excited about. But, there's been some issues as of late, so we'll get back to you on that.